who can actually compete for a national championship in 2025. Because everyone's talking about the future of the college football playoff being at 14 teams and 16 teams, and we're like, man, is there really 16 teams in college football that can win a national championship any given year? I think this upcoming season is maybe as open as a college football season as we've ever had. And as we sit here right now, I've got 9 teams that I think can actually compete for a national championship. So in no particular order, let's go through these teams. Oregon, to me, I said it before during this show, it really feels inevitable they win one under Dan Lanning. Is it this year? I don't know. But I go down the list of what my national champion would have to have, and they check a lot of boxes. Do they have a quarterback? They think they do. I don't think Will Stein takes bad quarterbacks. The last 2 were Heisman finalists. Dante Moore got a full year in the system. Okay, check. Roster talent, you got to have it. 3 of the top 10 classes for the last 3 recruiting cycles. 2 top 5 portal classes. Okay, check. Culture, Dan Lanning, check. So I like Oregon a lot. I don't see a reason why they can't go compete for a national championship in 2025. Go ahead and add them to the group. Ohio State, tell me why they can't repeat. You got 2 of the best players in the sport. You might have number 1 and number 2 in Jeremiah Smith and Caleb Downs, respectively. Nothing but top 5 classes on your roster. A head coach who's won a national championship, so therefore he knows what it looks like, feels like to have a national championship kind of culture internally in Columbus, so we'll go ahead and check that box for us. Do they have a quarterback? We'll see, but my bet right now is yes. I think Julian Sayin, I've said it many times, absolute psychopath for him deciding to go pursue Ohio State when he hits the transfer portal. And seeing him in the spring game, if that was the preview, I can't wait to see the movie. Go ahead and book it. Ohio State has everything they need to go win a national championship, on paper at least, as we sit here in May. Georgia, they're part of this group, can absolutely still win a national championship. People talking about Georgia having a down year last year and falling off, and it's like they still won the SEC. We all know that, right? I think last year was Georgia's probably – I think it was Kirby's best coaching job at Georgia, to say the least. This is a team that, to me, feels more dangerous. We say it a lot. Kirby Smart majors in manufacturing that chip on Georgia's shoulder. He doesn't have to manufacture that this year. I mean, they're coming back with a quarterback everyone's questioning with Gunnar Stockton. Everyone's questioning what the physicality is for Georgia, the defense. You got a head coach. Excuse me, not a head coach. You got an assistant coach saying that anonymously, saying that Georgia's thin at linebacker, which is, I don't know where they got that from. Georgia in the portal, I think, also answered a lot of questions at the receiver position with Noah Thomas and Zachariah Branch. Bottom line, I love Georgia. I think the fact that they are having people speaking down on them right now is advantageous to them and makes them more dangerous. So Georgia, they can definitely compete for a national championship. For Texas, they can absolutely win a national championship. I think the floor for them is already super high to begin with because of how Steve Sarkisian has recruited. Receiver, they feel good. Ryan Wingo, DeAndre Moore, cool. Secondary, Michael Taft leading that thing, cool. Defensive front 7, Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons. I keep naming a lot of names for Texas, and it's almost a bad habit to do when you talk about Texas because I don't think it's overly educational for us when we have this conversation from a content point of view. But I think the fact that we have so many names to go through when you talk about Texas kind of leads us to the point we're making. They're super talented. Across the board, they're super talented. Is there maybe less experience than last year? Sure. But if Arch Manning is a version of what he is projected to be, Texas is going to have a chance to go win the whole darn thing and maybe win the SEC in the process. So Texas absolutely can go compete for a national championship. Now, here's the team that, y'all, I'm falling more and more in love with as this thing progresses. I told you about the frozen pizza takes that we have during this part of the year, where the longer the offseason goes, the more that you get into them. The longer that night goes, the better that Red Baron or DiGiorno pizza looks in your freezer. LSU is that frozen pizza team for me. Last year, for all those that are longtime viewers of the show, my frozen pizza team was Notre Dame, and they played for a national championship, so food for thought. But LSU, the most proven quarterback in America in Garrett Nussmeier, one of the top portal classes that Brian Kelly assembled, along with Austin Thomas, their GM. What's not to like? You say maybe Brian Kelly, and I say how much has Brian Kelly elevated LSU to this point in time? Now he's going to year 4. Like, LSU to me checks every single box, maybe outside of your I need to see it from the offensive line and how quickly they gel, but I love LSU. I love the way they're built, and I'm having a very difficult time talking myself through a world where LSU isn't playing for an SEC championship, and maybe at that point they're competing for a national championship. So we'll see. But LSU can definitely win a national title in 2025. Notre Dame, they can compete for a national championship in 2025. They kind of got that deluxe album feel to them from what 2024 was. Like last year, you had a great defense, and you lose Riley Leonard from the year before, and you lose your DC, but like, it's the same sound. It's the same hits. It's still Jeremiah Love. It's still Mike Denbrock. You just got a couple of different pieces to it, a couple of different bonus songs. Chris Ash now calling the defense, assuming CJ Carr now playing quarterback for you. But it's the same kind of album that you love. It's still Forest Hills Drive. It's still Take Care. It's still Abbey Road. It just got a few extra different songs to it that I think will be more than good enough to put them back in that national title discussion. Clemson can definitely compete for a national championship. How hilarious would it be if we finish the season late January, I guess it's January 19th, I believe, in Miami, and Dabo Swinney is having the last laugh on the 2025 season for college football. A guy who didn't major in the portal, has been pretty outspoken about how he feels about NIL, and Clemson, in the new world of college football, wins the national championship. I'll say this, right now, the way this roster is built and who they have on this roster resembles a lot of, I think, what those old Clemson teams were. Got a dude at quarterback. Cade Klubnik can be that. Was that at the end of last year for them, especially against Texas. Okay, high-intensity, aggressive defense. Yeah, bringing Tom Allen from Penn State. It was the team that was top 15 in their sack rate a year ago out there in Happy Valley. Okay, check that box. Guys at wide receiver. Bryant Wesco, TJ Moore, Antonio Williams, Tristan. Like, there's a lot of guys now. A lot of guys that you hadn't seen in previous years, last 2-3 years, I should say, from Clemson, they now have at the playmaker position. So Clemson would not be shocked in the slightest if they ran through the ACC and then found themselves competing for a national championship at the end of that thing. Now, these last two teams, again, this isn't like in a specific order we list these teams off, but I did have these two teams at the end of the segment for a purpose here because there's more caveats with them. Penn State. I've been openly skeptical, even during this show, as to what Penn State can be. Even with that being said, I think if what you're assuming could be true about them, with this being James Franklin's best roster, and the steps they've taken with landing Jim Knowles from Ohio State to call the defense, bringing back some key guys in Singleton and Aller and Katron Allen, to me it comes down to the moments for them. Okay, it's if the talent is what you believe it could be, which I need to see, but if you're telling me that's going to be the case, then we're going to go ahead and assume that's true. It comes down to those moments that I need to see Penn State go win. All right, you think about what last year was for them against Notre Dame. If they don't allow a field goal at the end of the half to make it a one-score game against Notre Dame, I mean, like, do they win that game? It's 10-0. Probably changes the way that Notre Dame is calling the offense at the end of the game. I'll say that much in the second half of that game. Do they score in the red zone against Ohio State? Probably changes Penn State's overall internal confidence, probably changes their outlook for how they see themselves in that playoff field. I don't know, but I think that could change some things. So the best way to distill this down to what I think about Penn State, if the talent is where you say it is, can they win those moments? And if they can, then like we'll see. But there's nothing there for Penn State where I'm saying, assuming talent's at that level, they got a lot on paper that you like for them to be a national title contender. All right, so kind of riding the fence on Penn State there, but so be it. We'll go ahead and put them in the national title discussion for teams that could win it. Last thing I want to talk about here, and this is the most major caveat because it's at the most important position, but Alabama's on my list here. Alabama is my 9th team that I think could win a national championship as we sit here in the month of May. Everyone has questions right now at quarterback, different plays. I shouldn't say everyone. A lot of teams across college football have questions at quarterback as to what they're going to get. Even Texas, what's Arch Manning? You talk about Ole Miss, what's Austin Simmons? You talk about Notre Dame, who is CJ Carr? But the thing with Alabama is outside of quarterback, I feel enormously confident in all they have within that building, to where if Ty Simpson or Keelan Russell or Austin Mack is a bona fide guy, then I think Alabama can go win a national championship. I've spoken ad nauseum about the receivers. I think that their defense, with what they were last year, having another year in Kane Wommack's system, being top 10 in the country last year, over half that production back, okay, great. A coach now who, let's call a spade here, he's still one of the best in the game. I understand last year was down relative to Bama's standards. He's still only 2 years removed from competing for a national championship at Washington. All right, now Washington had a lot of NFL talent, but Kalen DeBoer, I think, elevated that talent to an NFL level. So last year they won 9 games without being settled in a quarterback that actually fit Kalen DeBoer's system. Ryan Grubb now calling the offense, who is the Batman to Kalen DeBoer's Batman, as we've said many times on the show. A lot there, but I think Bama, given a guy at quarterback, can win a national championship. So let's recap it here. Who is my team, or who? Well, grammar's tricky. Who are our teams who can win a national championship as we see it right now during the month of May? Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas, LSU, Notre Dame, Clemson, Penn State. Riding the fence, but Penn State is in that group for me, as is Alabama. Subject to change, but that's how we feel about the whole thing right now. Wide open college football season. We're going to enjoy all of it, and we'll look back on that list. And I think one of the national champions, or I think one of those teams will be a national champion at the end of the season.